that. So they created a link for me, and I say on my website that all fees that I earn from this are donated to the Honor Foundation. So before you can schedule a time with me, here is a link. Pick the length of time you want to have a reading with me. Send me a copy of the receipt that you'll receive. Then you may book a time with me. And that has been very effective. So far, I think I've earned, so I've been doing this part for very long, a couple $1,000s that I
Right.
have contributed to their fund. And now they've asked me, would I be part of their silent auction package? So they're accepting it, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
that has been part of it. And so I think that's the model that I use. I did not need to earn the money, but I needed to be able to make it win-win-win for everyone.
What if the truth came in a gel cap and we could just pop it in our mouths and forget about it? Well, it doesn't, and we can't. But we can laugh in the face of reality while plotting our survival. Welcome to the Truth Tastes Funny podcast. I am your host, Hirsch Redpun, and if my guests can handle the truth, so can you. Open wide, folks. Here it comes.
With me today on Truth Tastes Funny is Elizabeth Freed, who I can only describe as a medium by choice. A lot of people will recall various films or studies of people who have connections with those in the afterlife, and it always seems to be something that's put upon them. Well, Elizabeth is breaking the mold in that sense. She's a semi-retired executive coach. She has a deep experience in commercial production. She is an actor, but she definitely has taken the road less traveled and has a really, I feel, a really fascinating story, both past, present, and future. So welcome, Elizabeth, to
Thank you.
Truth Tastes Funny.
I love your introduction of me. I need to capture that medium by choice. How accurate to distill it like that. Perfect. It's true.
Thank you. I know. And that is something that just, it popped into my head. We had a conversation, I don't know, a week ago, something like that. And I think that our conversation probably just gestated in my mind, in the background of my mind. But for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, please share a little bit about your unique approach to the whole concept of being a medium.
Okay, well, it all began with a couple of awakenings early in life. I just had some jolting out of body experience in my 20s. And I thought, well, that's interesting, but I didn't have time to pursue it. It was a little scary for me. So I kind of put that to bed. And I did a little reading about it, but not really much. And then later in my late 30s, early 40s, I had another awakening experience where I was just in the middle of talking with a client, happened to be GE aircraft engine, very conventional kind of telephone call. And I noticed that the room had taken on a golden glow. And I thought, oh, what's going on here? But I had to stay conscious with my client. And I'm saying something like, well, 2:00 Thursday sounds good. And the next thing I did is I felt this overwhelming sense of love come into the room and a gentle squeeze of reassurance on my shoulder. I thought it was my husband who had walked in the room. And I was actually a little annoyed because I thought, I'm with a client right now. Get out of here. So I went to wheel around to say, I'll be with you in just a minute. And there was no one there. And I just, and the lady on the other end said, are you all right? I said, yeah, I am. And then the light went back to normal. The love thing dissipated. And I thought, well, how unusual. But I thought, what did I have, a religious experience here? I have no idea. It's like, what? But I wasn't scared this time. It was just really nice. But again, I was running a business. I've had my own business for 40 years and very conventional. And I really didn't want to talk about this to anybody else. And then I started taking some courses, but never really committed.
Yeah.
And then I saw a course being offered that said Mediumship Toolkit. And I was at a point in my career, I'm 76 now, and this was a year or so ago. And I said, I'd like to do something different. I wonder what this is all about. So I took the course. And I thought like most people think you have to be born with this. These are people who say, oh, they hear things all the time. They can't shut it up. Well, me, I don't have any problem. I can stay focused on business. If I can carry on a telephone call with a client and have this happen to me, I could stay focused. So
Yeah.
I discovered that anyone can be a medium. It's a matter of education, training, meditating, and practice, practice, practice. So I decided I'm going to do this. And I want to do it more. And being a person who believes in excellence, I said, and I'm going to get really good at it, which I have been getting better and better and better through practice and education and so forth. And I've taken a number of courses. I've taken that course. I took an online course, two of them. One was an 8-week, one was a 10-week, and now in September, I'm going on a 10-day cruise to the Mediterranean with a woman who is a former naval commander, very straight person like myself, and also who had never experienced this. And she's offering a 14-hour workshop. So I'm very excited about that. So I think being a lifelong learner and continuous education has enabled me to do connection. Now, along with that, unlike perhaps other mediums that, kind of go into this mode and they're very kind of, I don't know.
Woo woo is what we
want to say airy fairy, but a little me
woo.
take all my business practices and I apply it to my mediumship reading. So in other words, first thing I do is I manage expectations. I say, okay, this is what we're going to cover. This is what you're to expect. This is what I use. This is how I approach it. I'm going to verify. I'm going to give you, I'm an evidential medium. I'm going to verify the information that I give to you. I don't want you to give me any other information. When I give you pieces of information about what I see, hear, feel, or just know, and sometimes smell, just answer me yes, no, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't remember. And I have no problem if you give me a no, that's okay. I just need to go deeper and find more. So first of all, I will come up with these pieces of evidence and I'll ask you if you understand what I'm talking about. If we get enough solid information that you know who I'm connected to, then I will ask that spirit to give me a memory that only the two of you know. And if you verify that, or when you verify that for me, then I will ask Spirit to give you a message that's specially for you. After that, pardon me?
Well, let me, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
Elizabeth, for a second? Because this is where in our first conversation together, this is where I kind of got a little lost. Like I found myself getting a little lost because I had never heard of an evidential medium. Right. And so in my history, it always was that woo-woo stuff, and the thing that really struck me was that your approach is what I describe as almost woo-woo-less, right? It's it's a woo-less, medium, because you believe that it's number one, it's something that can be learned to do.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, it isn't, I don't know, I think you need to explain it a little bit in that it's it's very procedural. Is that like a word?
Yeah, I would say I use a very specific process. Some
Right,
people are able to connect like that. Because that's not my normal style, I have to go through a process to make that connection. Part of
right,
that is meditating every day so that I'm sure that I can connect with spirit, with gratitude, with the ability to surrender. It was really hard for me to surrender my left brain, very logical person, very business-like person, to say, okay, come to me. It was
yeah,
really not easy. Okay.
right.
That was part of what I had to overcome. Mhm.
Yeah, because as you kind of alluded to, you had this background in executive coaching, and your clients who you were used to talking to would you were worried that they would think you'd lost it. They would think that you had gone into something that was completely almost the polar opposite of what you had been so successful at doing. And in fact, what it really seems is that you brought a lot of the discipline and a lot of the reasonability of your career to this endeavor. And what I would like for you to share now, if you would, is also the model, because the business model of what you're doing is not the business model I wouldn't say a typical medium. It's not the typical business model at all, right?
Okay, right. All right. Because of my ego was involved here, I just thought, I can't have my clients. Here I am, an award-winning coach.
Right.
And now I'm going to tell people I'm going out on a limb. I'm going to be like Shirley MacLaine. I'm going to do this, what would be termed woo-woo stuff. I had to kind of get over it myself because it was tough for me to kind of deal with that. What are people going to think? Then you get to the point when you're my age, it's no, you don't really care. You got to do what you're passionate about. And I have to back up to say that I was doing pro bono coaching for an organization called the Honor Foundation, which works with special operations military, Navy SEALs, Marine Raiders, Delta Force, Green Berets, those folks, to help them transition from the military to the civilian workforce. And I'm very committed to this organization. My background helps them with interviewing, understanding where their skills match in the civilian workforce, et cetera. And I wanted to contribute to this organization beyond my time, talent, and treasure. Well, as a person who's now retired, I am very comfortable, but my income is fixed, so to speak, because I'm not working anymore.
Right.
So I thought, well, how can I contribute to them further? Wouldn't it be great if I could be a philanthropist while I live? I mean, I've got them in my will, but philanthropist while I live. I didn't have the answer to that yet until I got into this mediumship. So when I first started and I asked people to practice with, I'd get this like, whoa, I don't know if I want to go there. And I
Right.
thought, what is wrong with these people? I'm only doing this for you. It's good. Nobody, it's going to be okay. And then I thought, well, I'm getting this resistance from people just to practice and do it for them for nothing. And I thought, you know what? One of your models and principles in business was people don't appreciate what they don't pay for. So
Right.
I'm going to operate as though I've been doing this forever and they're going to pay for it, period. Now, I certainly couldn't charge the fees that I charged as an executive coach. No way I could do that. You know what? I'm going to call up the Honor Foundation and I'm going to tell them I want to create this business so that everything I earn goes directly to them, never touches me. Then I have to deal with the tax issues and all the other stuff.
Right.
So they created a link for me, and I say on my website that all fees that I earn from this are donated to the Honor Foundation. So before you can schedule a time with me, here is a link. Pick the length of time you want to have a reading with me. send me a copy of the receipt that you'll receive. Then you may book a time with me. And that has been very effective. So far, I think I've earned, so I haven't been doing this part for very long, a couple $1,000s that I
Right.
have contributed to their fund. And now they've asked me, would I be part of their silent auction package? So they're accepting it, you know.
Yeah.
That has been part of it. And so I think that's the model that I use. I did not need to earn the money, but I needed to be able to make it win-win-win for everyone. People are getting a reading, they're getting an empowering or healing message. I am able to add to my philanthropy, and the client is also getting a tax write-off. Win-win-win.
Right. And I love that.
Perspectives. Yeah.
I love the simplicity of it. I also think, having heard you say about the silent auction, you might end up getting so busy that your prospective clients have to engage in a bid in an auction just to bid on your services. And since it's all going to charity, it's the bidding process is really just benefiting the honor philanthrop. What is it? Honor.
The Honor Foundation.
The Honor Foundation. It's all benefiting the Honor Foundation, which is obviously a very worthy cause. So, who knows? People might enjoy that. They would say, okay, well, I would like to book you for next Wednesday at noon. And the other person would say, well, I would like to book Elizabeth next Wednesday at noon. You say, okay, well, you have to outbid, the other person. And it all goes to the Honor Foundation.
We hope. I think that's a great idea.
So we'll see if that happens. So, okay. So can you share some interesting readings? I know you're it's still fairly new. It isn't something that you've done, for forever and ever, but are there some experiences that you could share with the audience?
I can share one. One of the ones I don't normally bring forth really known people.
Right.
Was one where it was really a surprise to me. During my experience as an actor, I was doing a pro bono film for a director who had a passion project. And so I did it for free. Mm-hmm. And I was glad to do it. And there I met this very lovely woman who was a lead. We were both sort of co-leads in this. And she was a professional actor, a real actor. I was just kind of like learning. And I just found her really a neat lady. And we connected, and we would periodically text each other once or twice a year after that, how you doing, et cetera, et cetera. And when she found out that she said, oh, I'd love to have a reading for you. Now, this woman I would say she was about 50. She's Black, attractive woman. And so I began the reading for her. And the first thing I said to her was, I see a male who passed before the age of 50. He is really well built. I mean, like ripped. And I didn't say he was Black, but I saw a Black man. Okay, I just didn't say it. I don't know what made me not say it. I just didn't say it. So, but I should have, because you'll see why. Yeah. And I said and then I was going with what I was feeling. I felt like he was with me. I said, I feel him walking with total authority and confidence and self-assurance. I said, almost warrior-like. Would you understand that? And she said, I have no idea who you're talking about. Okay, so let me go back further. Let me ask further and see. I said, he said something about a panther. A panther. And then I said, a Black Panther. Would that make any sense? She goes, oh, I didn't know anybody in the Black Panther political organization.
Right.
No, that's not what he's saying. It's like he is the Black Panther. Would you? She said, are you talking about the movie Wakanda? I said, you know what? That's who this guy looks like. She said, are you talking about Chadwick Boseman? I said, yes, that's what he looks like. Now, she then says to me, oh, I knew Chad. I went, you knew Chadwick Boseman? She said, yeah, before he became famous, before his career just blew up with the Fantastic Four and Wakanda as the Black Panther. She said, it was a really nice guy. We would be going to auditions. We would see each other. Then his career just took off. He got married, and I really haven't had much contact with him. I can't imagine why he's coming forward. I said, well, let's be sure this is him. And I said, are you Chadwick Boseman? And I got the shivers. And I said, oh, we got him, all right. And I said, all right, well, let me see if I could get him to share a memory. I said, are you comfortable now with who I've described to you? She said, yes. I said, then let's go for a shared memory. And I said, he's showing me the two of you on a set, because I got a picture of, like, you see actors' chairs under those canvas chairs that you see on a set. She goes, oh, we never were on it. We never did a film together. Now, I don't let these things throw me when I get a no, because Spirit is telling me for a reason, but all right, she doesn't remember. She didn't. So I said, all right, let me ask for a different memory. I said, I see you in the LA area in an outdoor restaurant having lunch. Now, this may be outdoors, or it could be one of those restaurants that's kind of attached to an indoor restaurant where there's the glass top over it. Would you understand that? She goes, we did have lunch once in LA together. Yes, we did. So I said, great. Now, let me give you his message. Now, I won't share the message with you because that's personal. All right.
Okay.
So then we debrief afterwards. And that's another thing that I do. Okay, tell me what actually really resonated with you. How did you feel about getting this message? Blah, blah, blah. She said, he wanted at some time for me to work with him on a project, wanted to do a project with me, some film. But I was busy, or I was committed to something. I was working on a TV show or whatever it was, and I couldn't do it. I said, he asked you to be on a film together? I said, that was the memory that he was sharing. Even though you didn't do a film together, the picture he showed me wanted you to be on a film. You just didn't put them together. So he did a really good memory. See, normally I wouldn't interpret like that. It's up to this. We call the people that received sitters. It's up to the sitter to receive. But she said, you're right. That's true. So that was like really exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's amazing that people will, like, if you say, oh, well, because it's quite possible that the first time you mentioned, oh, I see this very chiseled man, he's a warrior, whatever it might be, she's not going to the recesses of her mind to find that to somebody she knew before they were famous. She might be thinking, oh, did I have someone in my genealogy who was a warrior? Do I have some, and so your method for kind of both getting to a very honest and yet a very effective and often poignant connection is really quite brilliant. And
it's interesting. Most mediums will do it. Come up with things like that. But Chadwick Boseman died before he was 50. He had
cancer.
Yeah. And he was very quiet about it. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether he was nominated posthumously for an Oscar or something, but I was not that familiar with him. And I don't think I even ever saw Wakanda. All right. I just took the picture Black Panther.
Well, there were a couple of movies. There was Black Panther and there was Wakanda Forever. And there was, and the thing is that no, he did not share with most people his illness. And so the industry, I think, as a whole, was just completely taken aback by it. But his impact on people was extraordinary. Like the impact that he had on other actors, the lengths he went to to help other actors and things like that. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting story.
I can tell you
Yeah.
another one. Would you like to hear another one?
Yes, I would.
Not of a famous person. This was a woman that I started to say, I see a woman who passed before the age of 40. I don't get her to be a family member, more like a friend, perhaps someone you knew from college. And I don't know, I'm getting that whatever it was, the illness was in the lower part of her body, whether that was pancreatic cancer or ovarian cancer, something like that. And she verified all this. And then I said, you went to school with her. Oh, wait, I have to back up. What was it? Okay. Sometimes before I even start, all the time now, before I even start a reading, I will get an image of something or I will get a word, totally weird, that seems random. And I used to ignore it. Now I realize Spirit is telling me something. So I said, your word is Helava, Hellava, like I had a Helava. Okay.
Yeah.
Would you understand that? And she said, no, I don't know what that is. And then, oh God, what was the name of the city? I'm going to have to make this up. Then the name of a city came up, a city I would never even say. It would be like if I said Iowa City.
Right, right.
I said Iowa City. She goes, oh, I understand that. I can't remember the name of the city. Isn't that terrible?
Right, right.
So she said, I understand that. I said, okay, well, we're going to put that in a parking lot. We'll come back to it later. Okay. So then I said, this woman was a friend of yours, very close. I think you went to school with her. Would you understand that? She said, yes. I said, roommates? She said, no, we were not roommates. I said, okay, but you were very close. And she's showing me that you studied together. You were very, very close. She said, that's true. I said, then I'm seeing this. I said, she smoked hardy, man. She goes, that's true. Okay. So we go through and we're verifying all of these things. We now know we're connected to this woman who went to college with her and passed early on. I said, you went to Iowa City for her funeral. That was the one and only time you were there. And she said, yes, that's true. I said, she's showing me that you were at her funeral. And that was one of the memories that they had. And she gave me another memory with her that I shared with her. And I gave her the message that she should have. And I said, she's leaving me with these final words. Those were the glory days. Would you understand that? And she said, yes, more than you know. I said, what do you mean? She said, yes, they were the glory days, and we had a hell of a good time. It was the hell of a, okay? But more than that, her name was Glory.
Wow.
So that was a very nice surprise. Now, you don't always get things directly. And when I did a psychic healing and a healing and psychic fair, people come to me and said, well, can you talk to a departed pet of mine? And I said, I've never done that. I don't know. I know animals are sentient characters, beings, but I've never done it. And I don't know if I can. And I'm not comfortable charging you unless I know I can do this. So I thought about it after I came back and I thought, obviously, this is important to people. And I've never been an animal communicator for live animals. Dead ones, I could do the souls of people.
Yeah.
Friends have souls too, maybe. Let's find out. So I put it out there on Facebook. I said, listen, I have had this request. Can any of you And do any of you have any deceased pets you'd like to connect to? And I got 7 people tell me yes. So I did pray. I said, no charge. I gotta learn to see if I can do this. So I had 7 people. 2 of them were very interesting. And did I tell you this story before about Bella the cat?
No.
Okay. This one person says, I'd like you to connect with Bella the dog, was a border collie. So I said, okay. So I did my thing and I said, Bella was black and white. Would you understand that? Yes. I see Bella wearing a red ribbon and a bell around her neck. Odd for a dog, but that's what I see. And she said, no, Bella never did. So I said, all right, let me go back and see what else I can see. And then I said, oh, no, I'm seeing a ball of yarn. I don't know what this means. Do you know what this means? She said, oh my God, I think you're connected with Bella the cat. I said, you had a cat named Bella. You have a cat named Bella also? She said, oh, Bella died 50 years ago. So I said, you didn't have a cat when we both lived in Ohio. And she said, no, I didn't. This was in a different place. And I was drawn to my glasses as I was talking to her. I said, Bella was calico. And she said, that's right. I said, let me see what Bella has to say. Bella says something about New York. She said, well, I had Bella when I was in Washington, D.C. Now, New York means East Coast, okay?
Right.
She said, we were in Washington, East Coast. I'll take that. I said, okay. Let's see what kind of message Bella has for you. And I'm sitting there waiting to hear. And I start laughing. I go, uh-oh. Bella is not happy with you. She is totally pissed off and says, what nerve giving a dog my name? And we laughed, and that was from Bella. The other one that was interesting was a colleague of mine had pet donkeys. Could I talk to her? Well, do you remember Francis the Mule, the show Francis?
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking, oh my God, am I going to be influenced by Francis the Mule? And then I go, wait, this is a donkey, not a mule. Get that out of your head, clear your head. Don't let that influence you. So I try to connect with her donkey. And the first thing I say is, your donkey was brown. She said, no, my donkey was not brown. So I said, okay, let me look again. And I went, oh no, I am seeing the classic picture of the donkey with the straw hat.
The hat. I was going to say with the hat and the ears coming through the hat.
Oh, that's just so trite. I'm so sorry. She goes, I understand that. I said, you do? She said, yes. I used to dress him in costumes all the time. So what Spirit was showing me is that she dressed him in costumes. I'm beating myself up thinking I'm blowing this, but again, I have to trust Spirit is telling me something for a reason. Now look at my face. And the next thing I do is this. My lip goes up, the whole like Elvis Presley lip up kind of. I said, something going on with your donkey's mouth or teeth or gums? She goes, well, you're in the right place. I had no idea. It's not up to me. Okay. I just have to report. But I say, she says, do you want me to tell you? I said, no. Let me just keep asking and see if I can get more. And then I went, tobacco. She goes, I said, well, tobacco? She goes, oh, I understand that. I said, are you telling me your donkey chewed tobacco? She said, no, he did not chew tobacco. So I said, some kind of vegetation or something? No. Do you want me to tell you? I said, you're interpreting this. I'm not. I have no idea what the lip, the teeth, and the tobacco mean for your donkey. She said, my donkey passed of oral cancer.
Oh,
I went, people who oftentimes chew tobacco get oral cancer.
right,
That is how spirit was communicating that to me. All right.
right.
I would never think, I couldn't make that up if I wanted to, but
Yeah.
I'm getting those pieces of information. Okay. So I said, now, his name was Wilbur or whatever. And I said, Wilbur's telling me 25. Would you understand 25? And she said, yep, that was about the age he was when he died. Now, I don't know how long donkeys or horses live. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I said, now he's going to be number 5. Would you understand that? She said, yes, there were 5 donkeys on the property. I said, okay. Now, what was the other thing he did? Something he showed me when the memory that he showed me, I said, I said, he shows me never being in a barn. He's always outside, like in some kind of pasture or corral, not in a barn. And she said, that's right. We did not keep him in a barn. And then the memory that this donkey shared with me is the moment you arrived on the property and you walked up to whatever that gated area was, whether it was a corral or pasture or whatever, you didn't even have to call his name. He saw you and he immediately came up to that gate and with his giving you kisses.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he would greet me. And I thought it was so interesting. So that gave me confidence that I could connect with animals as well. I did
Yeah.
several others, but I thought, well, I have to try it. It's just so interesting to me how spirit gives me these random things.
Well, the other thing is you have this connection to, I don't know, philanthropy in more ways than one is, community service. The donkey is communicating a message about tobacco,
Oh,
about, a
that.
warning, almost a tobacco warning saying, I oral cancer took me, and so but it's a very, very deep, um the whole process and the whole benefit and the reward and who it benefits. You're doing it now. All of that stuff is so fascinating. Well, two things I always like to give my guests the last word. So what I will ask of you is if you can share with the audience where they can find you, and then maybe a word, a thought of advice or inspiration to people who are searching for answers in their lives. Share that with us.
Okay. Well, the first thing is you can reach me by going to www.elizabeth, and that's Elizabeth with a Z, Elizabeth Fried, all one word, Elizabeth Fried, and Fried is spelled like fried, FRIED.com/medium. And that will take you directly to my Medium site and gives you all the information that you need on how to book something with me. Now, what do I want to tell you and leave you with? I would encourage you, if you want to connect with a departed loved one, go for a legitimate medium. And there are 2 kinds. I'm an evidential medium. There are also psychic mediums. Now, what psychic mediums do is they're reading you as they're giving information. I don't read you. I just connect to spirit, and spirit directs me to tell you. So I'm not getting influenced by anything else except spirit. So depending on what you want to have happen, I have had people come to me and say, well, I thought you were going to tell me about give me advice on how to manage my life with this and what. I said, psychics do that. Don't go to a medium if you want to have that kind of assistance. I don't do that. And so I want to manage your expectations there. So it's important for you to understand that. And make sure that, and sometimes you take notes when they're talking to you. If they don't give you a record of it, take notes. And one of the things that I've observed is that people don't, because they're so overwhelmed at the time. And, like her said, they could be thinking a whole bunch of other things, and they haven't been able to focus in, like my lady with Chadwick Boseman. What you have to do is take notes. And then you have the ability to reflect back on that afterwards, because sometimes it takes a couple days for it to sink in, everything that you've done. Now, part of my process when I debrief somebody, I will say to them, these were the pieces of evidence that we verified, and maybe it's 7 to 10 pieces of evidence. So I get it firm in their mind. And this was the memory we shared, and this was the message. Now, is there anything that's coming up for you? Oh, that reminds me. Another thing I say is whoever, my intention always is for your greatest good, whatever it is that I'm doing. If ever a departed loved one or spirit comes forward that you have no interest in talking to, you have every right to say, look, I don't need to talk to that person. Send it back, and I'll send them packing. I just say, sorry, step back. My sitter does not want to talk to you right now. They're not ready to do it. And they honor that. I just don't let them in. And so, that happened to me when I was practicing. I was getting somebody that was coming forward that I just thought was a big jerk. And this person really wanted to apologize to me. It's like, I don't even care. You're dead. Goodbye. So I didn't want to talk to him. All right. So, and really, I had other things I wanted to focus on. So you have that right, and you should, and that medium should honor that for you. So I would say take notes, be clear. And the other thing I tell people is that many people have an expectation of who they want to come forward. You have to have an open mind. So many people want a family member. I say to them, look, as I give you pieces of evidence, consider it could be a neighbor, a coworker, a friend, a former lover, a teacher. Listen to the pieces of evidence and look for 3 to 5 of them connecting. And also, some people will say, well, she got a bunch of things, but she didn't get this. If somebody's got 90, my accuracy rate is between 70 and 100%, which is pretty good. All right. I don't have the expectation of being 100% all of the time. Getting 70, this is not, at least not for me. Now, maybe for someone like a Jonathan Edwards or a Teresa Caputo, who are born like that. Although, interesting, I just saw a thing with Jonathan Edwards, and he didn't come into his own until he was a late teenager. And he thought it was all bunk initially and discovered he had this gift. He is really gifted. So he's almost natural, okay? But there are people like me who learn how to do it, and they do a very good job. So consider that. And if it's something you want to do, I would encourage you to either take a course from the Monroe Institute or from Suzanne Geisman of the Shift Network. If you want to go really big tier, you can go over to the Arthur Findlay School in London, very well known for that. But I would be very happy to read for you and have you contribute to my charity. So I'd appreciate that.
Thanks so much for tuning into Truth Tastes Funny. If you enjoyed the experience, please leave a 5-star review and share this podcast with your friends.